All right, guys and gals, welcome to the Zero to a Million call. Yeah, this is week three of this call. So I wanted to start out just a little bit different than I did the last couple of weeks. I wanted to share with you guys. I'll definitely share the numbers with you, but I actually do want to share some of the other things, some of the other things you guys probably experience in your business. Maybe some of the things that you might feel some of these things. So I'm going to start sharing. I'm going to share some wins. I'm going to share some problems, and then we'll get into the data, and I will share the actual data on um, where the business is, and then where we're projected to go. So let's start with some wins. So first big win was that we actually had money that got collected and went to our bank account. That was a win. So we billed somebody in ZenMaid, and then we invoiced somebody in ZenMaid. They paid their bill, and then 3 or 4 days later, Stripe processed that payment and then went into our bank account, and now we have money in the bank. Winning. So this was the first week, as you guys will see when we get to the data, that there's actually money that transferred to our bank account. So that's pretty cool. We actually are officially in business. Pretty neat. We had two trainees. Our two trainees made it, and they both were graduated cleaners last week, which was super exciting. So they did cleans on their own. And they showed up today for the third week, winning. So that's pretty cool. They both left us reviews as well, so it's super nice. Reviews on our Google, just to make sure we're on the same page. So one of the things that I just shared with Jacinta, actually, on our weekly coaching call, was that not only are we marketing for clients, we're also marketing for cleaners. And so having your current cleaners write reviews of their experience of working for you, very helpful, number one. Number two, you put that on your website, and so when other people who are looking to apply for your job, they see other cleaner testimonials, it helps. What I've noticed, because I'm in the process of hiring cleaners, is that how many people have said that they saw what other cleaners had, what the other employees had said about our company, and that made them want to make it through the process of actually talking to me. So super helpful. Those are some wins. And we got our first recurring client last week. Super exciting. So those are some positive things. Some problems. So without problems, then all the good things wouldn't be as cool. So some of the problems that we had, I would say the biggest problem we had last week is that we can no longer text. So I went through the ATP registration, had it all done. Even before we even started this company, I had all the registration done, and it was working. And then last week, I bought a new phone number, and I tried to link that registration to that new phone number, and now nothing works. And so I've not been able to text since Thursday, which has made a little bit of a challenge. When people text me back, when people text me and I can't text them back, it's a little bit of a challenge. But I've just been picking up the phone and calling people. So, and then I even got a toll-free number, because that's what they said, is like, if you don't have to register the toll-free number, but apparently that changed because I bought a toll-free number, and now you have to register the toll-free number. So I am now now I have 3 phone numbers, and none of them work. I should say none of them text. None of them text. So those are some of the challenges. Oh, and we had a trainee. So we had two of our first 2 trainees made it through. They're graduated. Then we had another trainee last week, and last night Katie and I were sitting in my office, which is this, by the way. It's I'll show you guys this. This is an Airbnb that we turned into my office. So I'll turn it around here so you can see. There's a nice bed. There's the couch. There's TV. You guys look at this. There's my other camera. And there's my other monitor there. And then here's me. So this is a guest house that we ran as an Airbnb. and we decided that we would make my office moving forward. And so Kate and I are sitting over there on that couch over there, and then she gets a text from our trainee saying that I don't know what the excuse was, but she didn't make it basically. So now we're back to two, and we have a girl who's doing a working interview today that we'll see, but just it's the same game, same show, is that we try to hire cleaners faster than they leave. That's the name of the game. So outside of that, I would say those were the kind of the two big things that are the wins and the problems that we faced in week number 3 of this business. Without further ado, if you guys are ready, who's ready to actually go through some of the data? Who likes the data? Who didn't know they liked data until they started watching these vision meetings or started watching looking at other people's data? Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. The nice part about data is that it doesn't lie. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't feel anything. It just is. Okay, so here's the data from Mesa 5-star for week number 3. Cool. Can you guys see it? Thumbs up. All right. Janisa, can you see it? Cool. Okay. All right. So last week we had 34 job ticket hours. The week before that we had 13, and the week before that was our very first week we had 8. So this is growing. This number is growing. How cool is that? Average number of cleaner hours is 4. That's obviously a little skewed with Katie being in there as well. And we have 3 cleaners, 3 official cleaners, and last week we had 1. So it's positive. That thing is growing. Just so you guys know, over here in green, this is our goal. So our first goal is to get to 103 job ticket hours every week. Our goal is to have our cleaners average 20 hours per week, and then for us to have 5 cleaners. Okay, this is our first goal, is to get to 20,000 a month. Okay, so monthly revenue. Monthly revenue as of right now is $2,650. Last week it was $1,830, and then 2 weeks ago was $400. And so you guys can see here our goal is 20,000. Okay. Weekly revenue, 1,220. Last week it was 1,030, and then 2 weeks ago it was 400. Okay. Revenue per claim last week, $244. So that number went up a little bit, which is cool. 206 week before, and then 400 week before that because we had 1 clean at $400. And then total weekly cleans, we didn't make any progress on weekly cleans. It's the only thing we didn't make better. We had 5 cleans last week, same week before, and then just 1 on the very first week. And our goal is to hit 19 cleans per week. So that's the overall data. Now let's actually dive in a little bit to more specifics here. So as you can see here inside ZenMaid, we have 2650 is what we had billed for the month, and then it was 1220 that week. And inside QuickBooks, we collected $1,699 of it. That was all collected last week. Like I said, that was the biggest win. We actually have money that hit the bank account. Pretty cool. And then outstanding invoices, we have $500 in outstanding invoices currently, and that's less than 7 days. All right, marketing. Let's move to marketing here. So right now we are using Google Local Services and Facebook ad spend. And even though it shows 0 here in Google Local Services, just because it hasn't charged us yet, but we're currently running Google Local Services. They just don't charge you till after the fact, whereas Facebook charges you right away. So I'm sure some of you guys have experienced that, where you'll turn your ads on and then they'll charge you $3, then they'll charge you $5, then they'll charge you $10. That's Facebook's way of just making sure that you can pay your bill. They don't trust you. But as you have more payments that go through, then they start to increase your threshold. But in the beginning, you'll see lots of small charges because they don't trust you. You're not trustworthy. But altogether, we spent $354 last week all on Facebook ads. We had 30 leads come from Facebook. Insane. Yeah, I'm impressed as well, Renee. The ads are working, which is really cool to see. We had 3 missed call leads. We had 3 Google local service leads, 0 homepage leads, and 1 incoming call lead, and then 2 referrals. And this incoming call lead was actually, this one turned into a recurring client. So pretty cool. So we had 39 leads last week. $9 a lead. Insane. It's pretty fantastic, actually. So marketing, doing well. Okay. Sales. So for sales here, we had 8 spots open, 7 days out. And just as a frame of reference, if you guys have never used this number, basically what this means is that like I had 8 spots on the calendar, or excuse on my Zenmate schedule that I could actually book cleans the next 7 days. So depending on how big your team is going to really depend on how big this number is, but 8 is pretty low. What I've noticed is that you really want to be somewhere in that probably like 15 to 20 range. And this is probably with a team with your team probably needs to be in that at least 5, 6, 7, 8 people to give yourself some wiggle room, because you don't want 0 spots on the schedule open. Like you don't want full capacity, because if a client or if a cleaner calls out, or you have a client who wants a last minute schedulation or a last minute clean, last minute schedulation. That's actually pretty good. If you have a client who's a last minute clean, you want some availability on your calendar. And also for cleaners who don't show up when they're supposed to show up, you need availability to move people around to keep your current clients happy as well. So you do want some spots open. You don't want this number to be 0. And we've kind of found that again, like that 20, like 15 to 20 to 25 range is where we like Bows and 5-star. And that has, in between 16 and 20 cleaners at a time. So I think that, when I work with other people who have a little bit smaller teams, I've still found that, that 15 range, that 15 to 20 is a good place to shoot for. And if it's less, you need more cleaners. Like this right now, it just shows that we need more cleaners. And obviously we're getting our marketing going, and then our sales as well. So for sales last week, I made 92 calls. Katie made 4, and I answered 10 phone calls, missed 17. I had 15 discovery calls, 12 performed, 5 bought. Katie went 3, 3, 3, 3. So she closed all her calls. She's a stud. We had $740 of new client revenue. And I converted our first reoccurring client at $150 every 2 weeks. So those are all positives. Yeah. And this was also the person who called in. So this is this incoming call lead. And it was crazy. I was just like, was sitting here at my computer, and my computer started ringing, and I answered it. And we got her booked for a clean on Wednesday. And then she signed up for reoccurring the very next day. Pretty neat. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I would say like on the sales stuff, one of the things that I'm learning from this whole process is that just the more times you can connect, the more dials you make, the more times you call, the higher probability you are to connect with somebody, and the more people you connect with, the higher chance you are to make a sale. It's really just a simple game. So anyway. That being said, client fulfillment, last week we had 5 weekly total cleans. We now have 1 recurring client. We have 2 reoccurring clients. So this is something that we have now delineated. We have 3 categories. We have a recurring client, which we define as somebody who's on a weekly, bi-weekly, or every 4-week schedule. A first-time client, which is somebody who's never got their home cleaned before by us, or never use our services. That's the first time, or an initial. And then the third type of client is a reoccurring client. So a reoccurring client isn't on a subscription like weekly, bi-weekly, every 4 weeks. However, they get their house cleaned they get their house cleaned occasionally, right? So clients like Airbnb clients are reoccurring clients. If you have like a property management company who uses you, they would be a reoccurring client to you. If you have a real estate agent who you use, they would be a reoccurring client. If you just have a client who, who calls in and says, "Hey, I want my home cleaned every 2 months or every quarter," like they would be a reoccurring client as well. So we started to delineate these people in their own little category. So these both were Airbnb cleans. And then we had 4 new clients last week. We had 0 reoccurring. And oh no, sorry. We have 2 reoccurring clients. We have 1 reoccurring client. And then last week we had 4 new client claims. We had no reoccurring claims. We had 1 reoccurring claim. And we had 4 new Google reviews last week, and we had 0 client complaints. So, all right. And then cleaner acquisition. So we didn't spend any money on Indeed or ZipRecruiter, but we had 9 website applicants. We did 10 prospect calls. Of those 10 prospect calls, 3 got pushed to interviews, and then all 3 of those interviews showed up, and then we ended up offering one of those cleaners a job. They accepted, and we actually had 1 person do a working interview last week, and we onboarded 1 cleaner last week, and we had 1 cleaner in training last week, and we have 3 graduated cleaners, which one of those is Katie as well. And as you guys can see here, though, that trainee didn't make it. Probably didn't make it. Boo. It's all right. So she made it through graduation day, but then she decided not to continue. But now we have Lindsay starting this week. Actually, she's doing her working interview this week, and then she's not actually set to start until next Monday. So, and Katie will be her trainer as well. So that's going on with the cleaners. We currently have 12 Google reviews on our goal to 50. And just so you guys know, I'm asking every single person to write us a Google review who is using our service, and obviously our cleaners. And I think that this right here is one of the most undersold assets that we all have in our business is your reviews. You'd be surprised. The reason why I'm so sold on this now is because of how much Alaya tells us that when she's on sales calls with people, that they've checked our reviews out and they basically come pre-sold. When you have hundreds of reviews and people actually look at those reviews, they come pre-sold. It makes your job easier. It makes your team's job easier. It just knocks down a lot of the walls that, it makes it easier. And also for cleaners as well. That's what I'm noticing is when I'm interviewing cleaners, how many times that they've noticed, because in order for them to fill out our application, they have to go on our website, and on our website, it has testimonials from our employees on there. And how many times this got mentioned to me when I'm doing these screening calls and interviews has let me know how important it actually is to have testimonials from your employees as well. Okay. 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 So as far as cleaners go, we have 3 cleaners, graduate cleaners, and we had 1 trainee, as you guys can see. And then Katie has 7.5 JTH, and Shane and Bridget both had 13, and then Carly had 8. Dun, dun, dun. And if you guys know why this is the difference here is because we had a team meeting that they get a half JTH for. Katie apparently didn't give herself that half JTH. So we had 33.5 total job ticket hours minus, but we don't want D60. Yeah, no, that's right. 26. Yeah, that's right. Obviously the cleaner average hours is going to be low. And then revenue hours per worked is low. That's because Katie, I think, is included inside here. I think Katie said that she wasn't including herself. I don't know. It's confusing. Going forward, she's including herself inside the JTH. That's what we made the decision to do. I'm not exactly sure if she updated this or not, but we had no client complaints, no canceled recurring clients, no discounts given. So that is week number 3 in Mesa 5-star cleaning. How crazy is that? We're 3 weeks in. Yeah, so I would say other thoughts here that I have is how valuable it is to just answer the phone. Like, and when somebody opts in for to request more information, like the speed the speed to your response, and specifically if you can call them and talk to them, creates value in itself. Um, so I think those are some other take-home messages that I'm like really focused on, and then continuing to sell the dream to the team is super important. So as you guys see here, like our cleaners, they're technically full time, but they got 13 hours last week, and so Katie's been selling them on the dream outcome. Like they're gonna have full schedules. They will one day they will look back on this and they'll be like, man, I wish I actually had a little bit of time um off in between my cleans, right? And so she's selling them the dream, and they're buying in, right? And this week our schedule is way more full. And so yeah, obviously being able to actually fulfill that promise is very important, but we're doing our job to be able to fulfill on that. And I think there's also something to be said about having focused attention. And so the fact that like Katie can actually focus on the training of these new cleaners and helping them do a great job allows, and then me to be able to actually fill the schedules and like find these new cleaners to give to Katie is super important. So like right now, like if you're running this thing totally as a solo person, like you don't have help. I'm not saying that you don't need a partner, but if you're trying to run this thing 100% by yourself, it is very difficult. So like having somebody to help you is everything. And then as the business continues to grow, like more and more help is what allows the thing to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's the reason why our first location is able to run without Katie and I, is because we have lots of people who run the show. Or we have one person who runs the show, then she has lots of people who fulfill on the work, right? Um, so that's what this game is. It's a game of attention, and as one person, you only have so much attention. And so the goal is to be able to bring on people who can help your attention back. So I think as I've looked at the people who have been successful with starting a cleaning business from scratch, and the people who I have seen who have not been successful, it's been that element right there, is that the people who've done it all by themselves have had a less